Our last speakers in the lightning session are Meet the Taxidermist, collaborating for innovative public engagement with Julie Griffith from the National Trust, Calke Abbey, and Sarah Burhouse, Birdhouse Taxidermy.
Hello, I'm Sarah Burhouse. I'm a taxidermist specialising in birds.
And I'm Julie Griffith, Property Experience Curator for the National Trust at Calke Abbey. We're here today to talk about our collaboration on public engagement sessions called Meet the Taxidermist. And these take place at Calke Abbey, which is a National Trust property in South Derbyshire, classic sort of country house setup, formerly home of the Harper Crewe family, who for several generations were really big natural history collectors, leaving us today with a really diverse collection. And we were really keen to understand how our visitors engaged with and experienced our taxidermy. So we did some analysis from visitor feedback, such as TripAdvisor, our on-property survey, comment cards, that sort of thing. And we actually found that a lot of people were having negative experiences of our taxidermy. They found it grotesque, macabre. We were described as a house of death, all sorts of things that we didn't want. We wanted a more positive experience. And digging a little deeper, we sort of found that people were coming to these conclusions perhaps through either a misunderstanding of or a lack of understanding of what taxidermy actually is. And they were also arriving to us with negative preconceptions of taxidermy being a little bit weird or a little bit kooky or kind of creepy. So what we wanted to do was sort of challenge these preconceptions and demystify taxidermy, but do it in a way where visitors really got a chance to see, to experience, to touch, to ask questions in a really safe space. And that's when we linked up with Sarah.
So what I'm doing on the day, I start off with a fully processed skin, and I'm wiring up the legs, wings, and the neck, putting the artificial eyes into the skull, articulating it all together, and then getting it standing, and then positioning the skin in time for the house closing. While I'm doing that, I'm chatting away to the public and I'm answering lots of questions. The question, or one of the questions that I get asked most of the time, is what's inside. So I use these props that you can see in the photos to explain that. One of the props is a balsa wood form, which is the process that I use, but most of the birds in the cases around are obviously very historical, and most of them have a bind-up form. So I use those props and pass them around to explain that. While I'm doing all of this, I'm also encouraging people to do my interactive, which I call bits and bobs and eyeballs, where I get people to match up body parts, so real wings, fur swatches, skulls, and artificial eyes with the names of the animals and the photographs. And this is a really good way of encouraging learning because it's tactile and it's sensory, and that's great. It also fits in with the school curriculum because it teaches about predator-prey. So I think that demystifying the process of taxidermy creates understanding and diminishes the fear of the unknown. I tend to find that visitors develop a growing respect for taxidermy as an art form, and they start to see it in a different light. I often find that those who come into the room with this face and the preconceptions, they're the ones that tend to stay the longest and ask the most questions. So it's really nice to see those preconceptions broken down. I think that these events are key in providing an alternate access to nature for those who aren't able to access nature in the way that most of us take for granted. But it also just gives everybody a close-up look at these species and teaches about things like iridescence and adaptations. Often I meet people who are interested in learning taxidermy, but they haven't made the jump to do it. So when they see people like me, role models that they can relate to, it gives them the that encourages them to start themselves.
And for us at Calke Abbey, this has been so hugely successful. It's really rare to say that you've had no negative feedback, and this has genuinely been overwhelmingly positive. We undertook some evaluation during sessions, and we saw it really increased dwell time, with several people staying with Sarah for many hours, 2-3 hours at a time. And we had people who exited the house but then came back later in the day to see progress, so they visited us twice. And it has also inspired new visitors that wouldn't normally engage with us who came specifically for the sessions. It was great for a whole range of age groups and audiences, and I was really pleased to see particularly the kind of 18 to 30-year-old audience really engaged with this, which is an audience group that we do traditionally struggle to engage with. And it's just really helped sort of Calke Abbey become more known as a place to really get involved and understand about natural history. And at the risk of embarrassing her, the big success was Sarah herself. I think having someone who was so engaging and people were really comfortable talking to Sarah, I think that's really what made it such a big success. So thank you.